Hello everyone. So today I'm drawing a soldier woman from a story that I'm currently writing, and if you like what you see, keep watching. Hello everyone. So I'm back from my holiday from the Yorkshire moors, which was great fun. Today I am doing this army woman, and I'm doing it in Procreate, not in Photoshop. So a lot of these things were done while I was on holiday, so I've got another one to upload later on. So I thought I'd muck around with making a little bit more action-packed, and then I'll start the colouring. So now I'm starting the hot and cold painting process, and you can find the picture I'm using as a reference on Pinterest. So this is a process that I've done before, where you duplicate the image, and then what I do is I turn that image to multiply the duplicate and then give it a mask, invert the mask and paint it back using the white brush. You can also do this with screen as well, and that will give you highlights instead of shadows. So using this technique of creating a duplicate and converting it to multiply, or converting it to whatever you want really, but then doing the mask and inverting the mask, you can then paint it all back using the white brush. So that's what I do basically here, is to get the right shadow of green, I'm just painting it back, and then I go into doing the same thing again, where I do a duplicate, change it to screen, create a mask, invert the mask, and then paint it back, and that gives me my highlights as well. So it's a very quick way of getting to where you need to be, and then as it gets better and better, then you can start applying a bit more detail. So around here is where I decided to just erase out some of the grottier lines in the line work layer before applying it all together to make one giant picture. And from here on in, I just sort of muck around, going in and out, using the technique that I've explained about making the duplicates and making them multiply and making them screen, as well as like going in more detail and constantly thinking about the heat in the face and where the light is falling. So in this case, the light is falling from the top right, maybe a little bit lower than that. So playing around and just trying to sort of make it look a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more interesting. So I also wind up eventually using a smear brush, which is a sort of dynamic dry brush, to smear some of the image towards the right, because she looks like she's turning, she looks like she's shouting at something. So yeah, it's just things that I was thinking about as I was going through this process of creating this sort of dramatic picture, I guess. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. So at this point I decided to give her eyes, and the rest of it is me just applying highlights and shadows here and there, just little changes over and over again, and just making the image tighter and tighter and tighter. And that's basically all I do from this point, until I start playing around with how I want to make it look more like it's in motion. So later on I do start smearing things and making it look more dynamic and adding rain and stuff like that, but first I just want to get the image looking as tight as I can. And that's it. So now I'm adding a few more textures. So to do the dents, I just do a dark blob, blend it out a little bit, and then using like the mid-tone from the costume, I'll start painting that in and gradually work towards highlights, always thinking about where the light will be hitting. And it's the same with the scratches. If you look at any sort of dent or scratch anywhere, you can see where the light actually is caught on the side of a scratch. And if you can apply that, I tend to use like a pencil brush instead, something nice and thin to just get that nice little edge on there to make it look very sort of sharp and deep. So yeah, if you want your dents to look deeper, you make them darker, and if you want them to look if you want the light to reflect out of them, then you start to bring that back and start to bring in lighter and lighter versions of the color you want until you get to white. So that's how you kind of make them deep and shallow and stuff. Very fun to do. Try it. And so here comes the smearing part, which gives the feeling of movement or a sudden turn. And then what I do is I go into doing a second light, a sort of bounce light, which is purple. I did that because I wanted to complement the green, and I wanted her to be kind of aware of something ahead of her. So at this stage I'm looking to do things like indents and a little bit more costume design. I like all this sort of stuff because like as it's put together, I think of it being put together like a jigsaw puzzle. So now I'm thinking like, okay, I'm using the pencil brush to create a very faint line, and then using a light version of the green to create a sort of rim light on there as well, which really works to make it look like a connecting piece. Now I'm in the last stages of the picture, and if you've made it this long in my video, thank you very much for watching. So I've got to this point where I'm now starting to make the background a little bit more interesting, starting to really sort of think, I want to play around. So I start to introduce a bit of smoke, a bit of rain. I'm using black, and then I flip that to screen, and it just looked far more like rain that way. And then I put on a motion blur effect. Again, I'm doing it in Procreate on the iPad Pro. This is all because I was on holiday, so blame it on that, blame it on Yorkshire. But no, it's really good fun, and I had to think about how the rain would be hitting on the back of her head, so it creates that kind of halo effect of water, and I had to try and think how I could effectively do that without going wrong and making it look terrible. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching. And here's the finished article. So let me know what you think in the comments below and what you'd like to see. I also write books, horror and sci-fi. They can be found on Amazon if you look up Richard Coyley. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.